architectural task.
There's an image that keeps appearing again and again in Cowboy Bebop. A rose falling in the rain. In the beginning, it feels like atmosphere, mood, visual poetry. But Cowboy Bebop doesn't waste images. Over time, we learn that the rose wasn't symbolic in the abstract. It's real. It was dropped by Spike Spiegel while waiting for Julia. This is the moment where Spike's life breaks. Not where he dies, where he stops living. From that point forward, Spike survives. He drifts, he functions, he fights, he jokes, but he no longer inhabits his own life. Time continues to move forward, but Spike doesn't move with it. The rose falls. Spike stays there. That image becomes the key to understanding everything that follows. When we meet Spike, he's already unmoored. He's competent, skilled, charismatic, but detached. He treats danger casually, not because he wants to die, but because his life already feels spent. Recklessness for Spike isn't thrill-seeking, it's indifference. This is what surviving without living looks like, and the series is very quick to show us where that path actually leads. The first real warning comes in Spike's encounter with Win. Win is a child who should inspire pity, a victim of a tragic accident, somebody frozen in time, innocent, at least at first glance. The problem with Win, though, he's survived too long. He doesn't live, he feeds. Win preserves himself by hollowing out others, destroying everything around him just to continue existing one more day. Survival has become his only value. Meaning has evaporated. Win is what happens when time is denied, but loss is never accepted. And Spike recognizes it. Killing Win isn't triumph, it's rejection. Spike is confronted with a future version of himself, a being who refuses to let go, who consumes the world just to avoid ending. Evil, soulless, isolated, alive but empty. This is the first crack in Spike's drift. The first time the story asks him, "Are you sure this is who you want to become?" And then Faye Valentine enters the picture. She causes problems immediately. She lies. She steals. She looks after herself first and last. She betrays Spike on multiple occasions. There is no practical reason for him to put up with it. But he does, and that matters. Faye isn't like Win. She hasn't hardened yet. She's defensive, performative, provocative, and self-centered because she has nothing solid to stand on. She doesn't have a past she can trust and a future she believes in. Her selfishness isn't cruelty, it's armor. Spike sees that. He recognizes the posture, a lost soul trying to survive without meaning. Letting her stay is that recognition. For the first time, Spike chooses connection over isolation. He accepts inconvenience, messiness, and risk because something in him no longer wants to drift alone. The rose is still falling, but Spike is starting to stand under it. That awareness deepens in Heavy Metal Queen. The episode isn't about Spike's past directly. It's about what's left behind when somebody is gone. Grief without speeches. Life reorganized around absence. Consequences that linger. Death here isn't romantic, it's disruptive. And Spike is forced to confront the truth he's been avoiding. Even drifting lives leave wreckage. Even if you treat your own existence lightly, others will still have to deal with the absence. At this point on, indifference is no longer neutral. The rose has hit the ground, and the petals matter. Slowly, quietly, the Bebop crew becomes something that Spike never planned on having. A family. They fight. They argue. They disappoint each other. Faye keeps stealing from them again and again. Jet Black plays the frustrated anchor, steady even when he's tired of it. Spike pretends like none of it really matters, but it does. Family is where drifting stops being theoretical. You can float alone, but you can't float without consequences when there are people depending upon you, even imperfectly. The lessons Spike learned in isolation now have weight. That's why Spike can finally face Julia when she returns. She's not just a lost love, she's the original wound. The moment Spike's life split in two. Everything that followed flowed from that original fracture. The earlier Spike, the one who was just surviving, couldn't have faced Julia. He would have needed her to restore meaning to his life. But this Spike is different. He can look her in the eye because he's learned to live again. He doesn't need her to save him. Meaning has already returned through connection, responsibility, and loss. She becomes another layer of meaning in his life. An important layer, but a layer nonetheless. When Julia dies the second time, it's not the reopening of an old wound. It's worse, because this time Spike's alive. He understands what loss costs. He understands what his absence would mean to others. The illusion is gone. No alternate futures remain. And that's what makes Vicious unavoidable. Vicious isn't Spike's opposite. Opposites imply balance, contrast, two answers to the same question. Vicious isn't another path. He's what happens when the path collapses and somebody decides that collapse is truth. Spike and Vicious start at the same place, same world, same violence, same love, same loss. The difference isn't what happened to them, it's what they did with it. Spike breaks and then bends. Vicious breaks and then hardens. Spike learns to carry the wound. Vicious decides the wound should rule the world. That's why Vicious feels less like a man and more like a force. He isn't psychologically rich because he isn't moving. He's forever frozen in the moment that Julia left, locked into one conclusion. The only thing that's real is power. Spike leaves, Vicious stays, and that choice defines everything. Vicious never lives in the present. He's sealed in a moment in time, endlessly reenacting the same logic. Loss becomes justification. Pain becomes permission, and control is the only value left standing. Vicious isn't misunderstood. He isn't trapped. He's not secretly looking for peace. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's decided the world should bleed before it changes. Spike doesn't go after Vicious out of revenge. He doesn't even hate Vicious in the conventional sense. What he finally understands is that unfinished myths don't stay contained. They rot. They spread. They poison everything around them. Leaving Vicious untouched means living a life that never fully resolves itself. And Spike is done drifting. By the time Spike walks towards Vicious, he's fully alive. Because he's alive, he understands something that the earlier Spike never had to face: the cost of unfinished violence. Spike knows exactly what Vicious is capable of. He knows that if he defeats Vicious and then walks away, Vicious won't disappear. He'll adapt. He'll retaliate. He'll turn his loss outward. He'll go after everyone Spike leaves behind. Jet, Faye, anyone standing close to the wreckage. Spike's not reckless enough to leave that to chance. This isn't a man stumbling into destiny. This is a man closing every loop he can see. Spike doesn't go in hoping things will work out. He goes in knowing what will happen if they don't. Spike isn't walking forward because he wants an ending. He's walking forward because he understands consequences. And because he finally does, there's no version of the story where he half finishes the job. Spike drops the rose and freezes. Vicious never acknowledges the rose. Spike mourns love lost. Vicious rejects love entirely. So when Spike walks towards Vicious at the end, he isn't chasing death. He's choosing to close the loop. The first time the rose falls, Spike freezes his life around it. The second time, when Vicious throws Spike through the plate glass window at the cathedral, that's the past crashing into the present. By the end, the rose is no longer an ending. It's closure. The rose always falls. What changes is if Spike is alive when it does. Spike doesn't go to die. He goes to finish the motion honestly. And that's why Spike survives. Not because the story needs it, but because a man drifting towards death is very different than a man walking towards responsibility. The rose falls, Spike lands. At any rate, I hope I gave you all something to think about, and until next time, y'all be safe. If y'all are still here, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. While you're at it, why don't you like this video? Subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell. You can hear me yammer on about something else next time. And feel free to share this video far and wide.
Please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment.